What's up, you guys? This is Adam Gillespie with Rancid Sweaty Calves, and we're going to get right into this video. This right here is a leaked fight scene from the new Echo show that is supposed to be coming out. I'm going to preface this by saying that if you do practically anything in this fight scene that Echo does in real life, you deserve to have your head beaten in with a metal bat and then finished up with a wooden bat, just for good measure, because this is nothing but absolute garbage when it comes to fighting. If you ever do anything that she does in this fight, in a real fight, you will find yourself on the ground with your nose and your face beaten in faster than you can say, "Oh crap, my nose and face are being beaten in." Because this is absolute garbage. It's worse than, I think, any of the capoeira fight scenes that I have seen in movies. It's worse than any of the other fight scenes that I've seen in movies. Even back in like the 1940s where people were swinging wild haymakers. Because at least they were aiming for people's heads back then, right? They were actually putting power behind those strikes, even though it was wild haymakers. And they didn't have amazing choreographers to make the fight scenes better. But they were still more realistic, especially for the time period. Now, I would have preferred to see them get a little bit more gritty, grapple, so on and so forth, but that's besides the point. This fight scene is infuriatingly bad. It's only a minute, but I don't know how long it's going to take me to actually break this down, so bear with me as I do. And I'm not going to play the sound, just so you guys know, because it really is just grainy and it's bad drum music that doesn't mean anything. Let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Okay, so first thing, right off the bat, if you ever throw a wild haymaker like she just did at somebody, the only chance that you'll have of hitting that person is if they are actually blind, because someone can see that coming from a mile away. Also, with her being a righty, having that wild haymaker come from the left, otherwise known as your lead hand, the jab hand, you're opening yourself up to every form of attack. The person in front of you could simply move in or thrust kick you. If they thrust kick you, you're going to get hit in the gut. You're going to get knocked down. You're going to get the wind kicked out of you, all right? If they move in, they can grapple your arm as they're throwing the haymaker, stop your right arm attempt, grapple you to the ground, put you in a headlock of some kind, and you're out because you're not getting the oxygen that you need to your brain for just a few moments. And by oxygen to the brain, I mean they're cutting off some of the blood flow for just a second, and then your brain goes night-night because it needs to go to rest. It's not crushing the trachea like some people think a headlock does. A triangle choke does not crush the trachea. A triangle choke actually just impedes the blood flow to the brain enough so that the brain has to knock itself out because it's saying, oh, we're in danger. Time to go on, sleep mode. Also, if you get hit in the face with a metal baton, I don't care if you are the most strong-willed person in the world. If someone is really winding that thing up, which the stunt actor for Daredevil did not do in this fight scene, you are going to get knocked back. You're going to feel that pain in your face. You're going to get hit. You're going to go backwards just a little bit, take a step or two back. You're not going to get hit in the face and then go, oh, like she's doing right here, where she's just like, look at me, I have my mouth wide open. No. All right? Just no. That's a bunch wrong off the bat. Let's go ahead and continue on. I still don't know what happened there. It looked like he kicked her, but she kind of just fell down and then rolled backwards. All right. Okay, so here's something I'm going to say that's actually kind of crazy. Some of those kicks were good. Some of them. Some of them. Not all of them. The front kick is probably one of the most pointless kicks unless you're aiming for the balls, which she may have been. The two kicks that came after that are pretty much unnecessary, although they were good form. If you were doing a kick from the side, you want to wind up. You want to go for the knee. You want to go for the thigh. You want to actually aim for a part of the body that's going to get hurt and going to take out the opponent's ability to advance and retreat from and to you, or to and from you. That's the whole point of a leg kick in Muay Thai. It's to actually take out their legs so that they can't fight you. Now, if you have someone who's trained in Muay Thai and they've gotten those leg kicks against them, they're going to last a lot longer than the other person who hasn't had those trained. But it is a good thing to go after their legs with a leg kick in Muay Thai. The kick that she's doing overhead where he is squatting down really wouldn't work that way. If someone was getting kicked that way, at that height, and they had to squat down to catch it with their hands above their head, they're not going to squat down to catch it with their hands above their head. What they're likely going to do is they're going to just catch the leg and break your knee. It's so simple. I don't even know what that exchange was right there. It was like someone just, I'm going to duck back and then I'm going to move forward and the guy who's fighting me is just going to walk away. Okay, so again, a lot of the times what you will see in Hollywood movies when female actresses or female actors, or just female stunt fighters are fighting on screen, what they will do is they will have them kick someone, right? Pretend to kick someone, and then because there's not enough speed or force or power behind the actual kick, the stunt guy who got hit by her, or, whether it be a kick, a punch, or a body slam, or a knee, or whatever, has to overreact to make it seem as though they're actually getting hit with some kind of force, because there isn't any believability to it. So Daredevil here gets knocked back a couple of feet and then slams himself into the pole behind him so that it can seem like he's actually getting hurt more than he is. That's not happening. There's no force behind that kick. It ended on impact. If you want to know what a good kick looks like, a good kick that still is Hollywood-esque is going to be from the movie 300. When the guy kicks, King Leonidas kicks the God King down that big freaking hole in the ground. It's still a Hollywood kick because it's almost full extension upon impact, but it still looks as though the gentleman is kicking him with enough force to knock him backwards. And it's not sending him 12 feet back. He's not stumbling back and then throwing himself into a wall. He's on the edge of a giant hole and he's getting kicked backwards. He doesn't have any support behind him, so he's falling backwards. That is realistic. This, right here, the kick that she just did, totally unrealistic. And the exchange that she's about to do, by the way, is also unrealistic. Never go to the ground until your opponent does. All right? You can go to the ground in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu matches because that's where you're supposed to be. You can pull guard. But at the same time, if you're going to run over to your opponent, slide on the ground, and then spin around into a back kick like she's about to do, like this, which, again, full extension before even hitting the guy. The guy has to catch her foot for her to make contact. The best way to avoid this kick would be to literally take a step back, okay? You don't have to catch it. You just take a step back. She's still on the ground. After she releases her leg from that kicking motion, just run over and tackle her. She has her back turned to you. This is the dumbest kick I think I've ever seen, and I know it's taught in real-life martial arts, but those real-life martial arts should really consider getting rid of that kick because it's the stupidest thing I think I've ever seen. I know what you're saying. Oh, but it offers more support because you have both your hands in front of you and your leg, and you're kicking that way. No, it doesn't offer more support. It's a clunky move that would only ever work if you were above the opponent on a weird dangling situation, where if you kick that person gently in the face, they might let go of whatever it was they were holding on to and fall to the ground. That's the only time kicking like this works. That's the only time it might work. And even then, the person might just grab your kick and then hold on to you, and you both fall. Okay? This is a stupid kick. And what's going to happen next is also stupid. You see that? You see that? You see that? The Daredevil stunt guy decided that it would be better to hit her in her calf instead of on the joint of her knee, or even her ankle for that matter. And he hit her there, I think 2 times, and she felt nothing. Nothing. Yeah, perhaps that's her other weird, maybe that's her amputee leg. But still, if you hit it at the joint, it's going to do some damage to the joint of the leg if it's not a full amputee, if it's not up to the thigh. Which it might be. I don't actually know. I didn't see the Hawkeye TV show. I don't really care. Anyways, this next kick is absolutely garbage. If you ever do that in a real fight, you deserve for the person to run up to you, kick you in the crotch, tackle you to the ground, and pound your face in. Because that is All they need to do. If you ever grab your ankle, spin around, do a pirouette like you're in ballet, and then try to kick the person in front of you, you deserve nothing more than for that person to exploit every single weakness. Your entire body is exposed to attack in that situation. Your entire body. And the fact that the Daredevil stunt guy didn't just run up and tackle her to the ground and then beat her face in is everything you need to know about how ridiculous this fight scene is. You will never do that in a real fight. And if you ever do that in a real fight, you are an absolute idiot who deserves nothing more than to lose every time. That's also just ridiculous. I mean, oh yes, I've thrown you. You're going to do a backflip, and then I'm going to kick you into a chain link fence. Some random thug comes up and tries to stop him. She enters a cage and locks the door. Hey, here's an idea. Alright, I'm going to get to the whole shotgun missing him bit because that is ridiculous too. But here's the thing. If you've just locked the fence and you know that you're losing this fight, which she definitely is, just run away. It's way simpler that way. He's busy dealing with some other goon. Just run away. But no, she closes the gate and then grabs a shotgun. I don't know if this is buckshot, if this is birdshot. It's definitely not dragon's breath. It's definitely not an incendiary round. I don't know if it's a horny critical defense round. But what I do know is that if you aim a shotgun at someone in midair and you pull that trigger, there's an intense likelihood, if you are less than 4 feet away, which this woman and this Daredevil stunt guy clearly are, that you're gonna hit that guy. If you can't hit someone who's like 4 feet in front of you with a shotgun that's potentially loaded with birdshot, you don't deserve to win the fight. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Also, I don't know of many bad guys' lairs where they actually keep the ammo loaded up in the firearm in a stockade. You know, I mean, typically, if you have a firearm sitting around, it's going to be unloaded until you want to go into combat and then loaded. I get you can load it. It's kind of a preference. I mean, it's not really that big a deal. I'm just saying, you know, you could do this, you could not do this. It's really is kind of your preference to think about that, what you will. But anyways, let's go on. So I have no idea why it is that Daredevil wound up with his shoulder on there. I mean, he took the gun from her hand, and then he fell to the table for some reason. He didn't wipe the guns away off the table. He didn't defend against her really obvious telegraphed punch. And now here he is moving out of the way. She's grabbing another gun. He takes it from her again. That right there is probably the best sequence of action that this show has so far produced for me to witness. One powerful left-handed jab that sent the woman who is probably half the weight of Daredevil flying. That's probably the most realistic exchange of sequences that's happened in this entire fight scene so far. Okay? And it's going to get worse, I guarantee you. So she manages to miss him both times. He leaps over there, throws something at her, and then she just... Oh my gosh. Okay, So she throws 2 wild haymakers at a blind guy, misses both times with a wrench or whatever it is that she had in her hand. Maybe a pipe, could be a monkey wrench, one of those giant red ones that you see in the cartoons in the Speed Racer movie. Misses both times. Instead of Daredevil exploiting the fact that her back is turned to him, and, I don't know, just punching her really hard again, or throwing her into a grapple where he puts his arm around her neck and puts her into a triangle choke and then ending the fight really that easily. What he does is he jumps through the area where all the guns are, rolls up, throws his baton at Echo that's attached to a wire, and then Echo just gets pulled across the table or jumps across the table with the baton in her hand to successfully graze his face with her knee, potentially. I'm not even sure if it actually made any consistent contact there. And there's more exchanges of really ridiculous movements. She apparently has enough force behind her to stop a man that's twice her weight and size from pile driving her into a wall behind her with a tap of her foot on a wall. And then Daredevil throws a shelf on her, and somehow, that sends her through a wall or a glass window of some kind. Somehow, downward force pushes people out to the left. I don't understand anything in this freaking fight. Nothing in this fight works except for the one punch that Daredevil did to her. And maybe one half of a kick that Echo managed to get off on Daredevil at the beginning. And even then, that kick was unnecessary and as ineffective as nunchucks. I mean, really, who coordinated this fight? I could do better with 12-year-olds in a play when they have never had any combative experience in the past and I have wooden sticks to operate as swords. I could do better because I know I've done better. I coordinated that stuff in a Peter Pan play. I did that. I did some coordination for a Robin Hood play that looked better than this. And it involved people grappling to the ground and someone getting a stone to knock over someone in the head. It's so simple to get something to look realistic enough to be cool. This is garbage. What happened to people creating immense, unique fight scenes that had unique atmospheres and actually looked as though it could potentially happen? We know it couldn't happen because the people were doing too many exchanges, but it didn't change the fact that the performance was realistic enough. I am ever confused at the garbage that Marvel is producing. And it seems as though it's only getting much, much worse. Never better. Anyways, now that I have destroyed your eyes with that cringe, I hope you guys have a great day and a great rest of the week.